We like to say that Fred, our AI assistant, is getting a promotion. Fred will go from being an AI note taker to an AI employee, and he'll be able to do work not just on your meetings, but all the places where you communicate, all the tools where you work. We're going to make Fred hundreds of skills and do lots of different things on all of these different platforms.
That was Krish Ramineni, co-founder of Fireflies.ai, speaking on behalf of Fred, who has been part of our virtual meetings for years now. Fred is always punctual, he listens carefully, he takes copious notes, and helps the entire team stay productive. Fireflies launched its AI note taker even before COVID, just as work began shifting from buzzing office floors to endless video calls. Since then, the US-based startup has turned into a unicorn. It has scaled to 20 million users across 500 organizations globally. But the ChatGPT moment happened in 2022. This could have been a kill switch for the product. AI could now do seamless transcriptions, note-taking, and even summarization in seconds. The market was suddenly flooded with similar tools, and Fireflies could have been swept away. Instead, Krish, the company's co-founder, he moved fast and secured early access to OpenAI APIs, which basically means the product was rebuilt with emerging LLM capabilities. Today, Fireflies continues to lead its category. It expanded beyond note-taking into specialized solutions for healthcare, finance, retail, and other such categories. I spoke to Krish on the company's growth story, fundraising, work culture, and the future of AI-native productivity tools. He also opened up about the company's strategy of staying profitable, rejecting multi-million-dollar fundraising, resisting M&A opportunities, and why he believes the future of work belongs to AI employees. This is the latest episode of our special series, ET in the Valley, where my colleagues and I bring you conversations with founders and C-suite executives who are rewriting the global tech story with AI. It's Wednesday, the 10th of December. I'm your host, Himanshi Lohchab, and this is the Morning Brief. So Krish, let's start with the backstory of how you started Fireflies at a very young age. Tell us about how did you get this idea of solving for note-taking and making meetings more productive?
I believe I was around 2021 when we started the company, and I did not know much about enterprise software or B2B software at the time. I had left Microsoft. Well, I had a couple options. One was to go to graduate school in London. And my friend at the time said, do you want to work on a summer project before you go off to university? And so we started working on this. And by the end of the summer, we said, this is actually so much more fun. I want to just do this full time. I made a split-second decision and then decided, okay, I'm going to do this full time. When we started, there was no AI. There was no ChatGPT. There was none of this stuff. We were probably 5 years too early to the market, but we had this belief that every person in the workplace should get their own personal assistant, like Siri, like Jarvis from the movie Iron Man, that you can call on and have it do work for you. And it took us 5 years of really building and scaling that product out. Now, Fireflies is used by millions of users across 100 plus countries. And the longer term plan is to next year release 5 different products in the span of 1 year and build on this narrative of personal assistant. We're excited about it because also the technology has gotten much better and it enables us to do all these great things now.
Yeah, there's an interesting story about how you joined meetings manually as Fred from Fireflies and started taking notes manually before you used AI or software in your product.
So I think the facts for that story should be clear. One was we had worked on 6 different products. They had all failed. So the 7th time, what we said was, we're not going to write any code. We're going to first validate the idea like an MVP. And only if there is market demand are we going to actually go and build the product. So what we did was we reached out to 10 of our friends, asked them, how much would you pay for an AI like personal assistant. And all of them thought, wow, if I can get a human assistant with AI for $100 a month, that's incredible. And what we did was for the 10 users, worked on a product that had a human that would review the notes and create the output. And we validated demand. There was a lot of demand for it. And after we did about 100 meetings, we paused and said, okay, this is great. Now we need to go build out the technology. We went back, built out the product over a year and a half. And then only afterwards did we go and raise our seed round. And again, this was around 2019 that we raised our seed round, well before ChatGPT and LLMs came out. So we were building a lot of our own core tech. And then we launched in January 2020, the official version from beta. Then COVID happens, everyone goes remote, and there's this incredible need for video conferencing and an AI note taker for people who are just doing constant meetings. Come 2022, ChatGPT comes out, LLMs come out, and our partnership with OpenAI became a reality at the time because Khosla Ventures, Vinod Khosla, who's an investor in Fireflies at the Series A, introduced me to Sam Altman. And Sam Altman got us early access to the APIs at the time. And we started incorporating that into Fireflies, and it completely changed the quality of our product. It accelerated our roadmap. And we built out the core tech. And this vision of building a personal assistant, this AI employee, as we called it, was very much a reality. It was within our grasp at that point. And 2022 onwards, the growth became very, very rapid. And I don't think I've had a chance to rest in the last 3 years because of how much we've been growing, scaling, building. And it's been an incredible journey. There's nothing more disappointing than building something, putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it, and then realizing you're building for the wrong market. So that was like probably one of my biggest learning lessons at that time.
So when the Chat GPT moment happened, you struck the right partnership with OpenAI at the right time. But did you ever feel that, okay, maybe this could be the end of my product? Now Zoom could do it, Teams could do it, or any other note-taking platform, transcription platform as we see they are today could do it. Did you ever have that feeling?
Once the AI moment happened, we knew that there were going to be a lot of other fast followers in the space. But we realized there was an incredible amount of work to be done. The first 70% may seem obvious, but when you look at like what actually had to take place afterwards, we've released in the last year Fireflies for healthcare. We released a note taker for the finance industry and for financial analysts. We built over 95 different integrations, and we should be crossing 100 integrations this month. We've built out what we're calling skills, where the AI can do more than just note taking, and it can perform over 200 different skills after a meeting. So on the surface, any product might look just like simple and easy to replicate. So I like to say it's easy to build a product. It's hard to build a company, and it's hard to continuously work on being relevant. And we have to always keep pushing ourselves to find product market fit as the market evolves. You have to keep innovating, and we've had to do a lot of work to get there. So when there are new entrants in the market, I'm not as focused on them. I'm focused on how to make the customers really happy. And I look at it as they're going to have to do 5 years worth of that deep work to catch up to that product. And if they were to do that in the next 5 years, as long as we're continuously innovating, making our product better, making our product more scalable, we're always going to have an advantage. So in this market, if you blink even for a second, everything changes and someone will zoom past you. So we try to be very vigilant and very active. But so far, I think the direction we're taking the company, I'm very happy with what we've done for our customers and just looking forward to keeping on building every single day.
Absolutely. But one thing, what I feel about note-taking, transcription, and services like these, people have a tendency to expect these services for free. I mean, especially in India, it's not a service that we take it for granted. We're not a market which can be easily monetized. Do you feel the same about this segment? How difficult is it to monetize something like note-taking, transcription, and whole lot of services?
Well, one of the good things with Fireflies is we have a very generous free plan, and we continue to invest in the free plan as well as our paid plans. People with one click can start using Fireflies and see it for themselves. And we're going to continue to give that value to users because at the end of the day, even if you're a free user, the fact that you're using it and you actually enjoy using it means you are doing marketing for us. So you are an ambassador who is helping bring Fireflies to a lot of different people and showing the value of Fireflies. Because of that, 3 out of 5 unicorn startups in India all use Fireflies, which is fantastic. So one of the other things we felt for the India market, which we're rolling out now, is also regional pricing. And one of the things we're looking at is how do we make the core product more affordable as we build out this platform? And one of the things is the note taker is going to be one of 100 things that our AI assistant, Fred, is going to be able to do. And also regional pricing is something we're thinking about actively, like how to make it more affordable for regions like India, Brazil, and other places. Fireflies is a global company. And I think people discount the Indian SaaS market, but I have a belief that the total addressable market in India is only going to get bigger. Just like how the consumer market is so big in India, I genuinely believe homegrown businesses in India are only going to grow bigger and that there will be a need to service that market. So I take a lot of inspiration from companies like Zoho and Freshworks that have built incredible, affordable SaaS. When we first launched, one of the enterprise versions, what we did was charging hundreds of dollars per month per seat or per license. And we were doing it for just $10. So 1/10 the cost and providing still better transcription, better note taking, analytics, and all of that. So that reduced the barrier to entry significantly. So if you're not cannibalizing yourself, someone else will. And we're constantly pushing the envelope and making Fireflies more accessible. And I see India as a big part of that plan in the future, not just because of the total addressable market, but I'm not too worried about whether it's monetizable or not monetizable. I just see like, can we create incredible value for the businesses that are operating here?
Sure. And what is your product vision from here? Where do we go from here after solving note taking, transcription, and personal AI assistant? What is the larger product vision?
We like to say that Fred, our AI assistant, is getting a promotion. What I'd like to say is in 2026, Fred will go from being an AI note taker to an AI employee. And he'll be able to do work not just on your meetings, but all the places where you communicate, all the tools where you work. We're going to make Fred have hundreds of skills and do lots of different things on all of these different platforms. There's a lot of work to be done. The opportunity is infinite because there's so many directions we can go with it. But we are starting to work with a few customers and build this out. But I would like for people to remember Fireflies and Fred as this trusted AI employee, a teammate that they can have.
Very interesting that you mentioned AI employee. And I mean, globally, businesses are moving to this human plus AI model where they have agents as part of their workforce working on behalf of humans. And this immediately brings the question of jobs. I mean, you've been vocal about how AI will be impacting and is impacting entry-level jobs. Tell us a little bit more about what you think, and especially a labor-abundant market like India, how should we progress with that?
This is definitely a question that's on everyone's mind. And what I feel is the need for humans is extremely important and will continue to be important because you need someone to lead the AI, set the guardrails for the AI, and tell it what direction to go. And I believe that AGI is much further away than what people talk about. This artificial general intelligence where AI can do everything. I don't think AI can do everything, but I do think that AI can do certain defined tasks that are very tedious, like entering data into a spreadsheet, by pulling information from different repositories, by scanning and analyzing a bunch of data. All the sort of things, administrative stuff that I honestly think would be very time consuming and quite boring for a human to do. AI should be able to do that. So I feel like everyone is going to get really good at managing AI employees, AI teammates, like they were back in the day learning how to use the internet or the fax machine or smartphones. I think there's a huge adoption curve that's going to need to happen. I think a lot of companies are going to be able to do more with fewer people, but this could also open up the fact that there will be much more companies, much more entrepreneurship, much more commercialization that's possible. And this is something I'm betting the entire direction of our company on as well is we love small businesses and we want to make sure that small businesses are successful. Like we want to help automate a lot of their back office so they can do incredible work and things there. Everyone wants to deploy and like use AI, but they don't know how to implement it. And that's one of the things that I hope that Fireflies and Fred will be able to solve in 2026.
In the last 5 years of building and scaling this product, have you had M&A opportunities from the larger incumbents? I mean, Zoom would like to buy a product like Fireflies, Microsoft, Google, and in fact, even Apple. So have you had those opportunities? Would you be open to that?
In the last 5 years, we've had a handful of companies that have approached us that expressed interest in M&A. Some of them went much further into getting to know us process. There were some companies where I felt like the vision could have been really great and the potential could have been great. But ultimately, we decided to continue, keep our heads down and execute because we didn't want to sell the vision short. I will say never because something great could happen. If this is the right thing at that moment in time, we'd be open to considering it. But I really do believe that the best companies are bought, not sold. So I'm not actively trying to go raise money or sell the company. What I do feel though is the market is moving really fast. And the general feeling I get when I talk to larger enterprises, potential acquirers, is it's hard to keep up with all the new models, all the new updates, the different new category disruptors that are coming in, like CRM and all these other tools like payroll, all this stuff now has hundreds of new disruptors coming thanks to AI. But for an AI startup that's about 120 people like us, the market is moving so fast. I feel like it's even harder for these larger companies to keep up. And they're all at the wheel, they're all ready, but it's just going so fast that M&A might be one of the key levers for them, especially if they have a huge bank balance and cash flow to leverage that. Because I have been seeing deals where people have been acquired just for the talent. And in the case of Fireflies, like we built this line of business that I think is incredibly powerful because we integrate with everyone. We go deep with everyone. But right now, our focus has been just to continue to execute and build out the vision I just described earlier.
Fireflies has stayed away from fundraising after, I think, the seed round that you raised 5 years back. Tell us, what is your strategy behind this? And especially at a time when young founders are making headlines for raising 10 billion Series B, Series C rounds.
So we raised both a seed and Series A. Our Series A came in 2021. That's when we announced it. It was $14 million at the time. And since then, in the last 4 or 5 years, we haven't raised any capital at all. In fact, we barely touched any of our Series A capital. We used our seed capital. And then by 2023, we became profitable, which is, I know, hard to describe in the AI sphere because AI companies are burning lots of money. For every $5 they spend, they're making $1 back. And investors are justifying this. And we've continued to scale, maintain triple-digit growth without needing outside capital. And earlier this year, we did a small tender offer valuing the business at $1 billion. What was more exciting was not just getting the $1 billion valuation, but the way we got there by building a profitable business with real unit economics. Companies can, without a product, go raise tens of millions of dollars at 100 million plus valuation. Great. The real fun starts after you raise that at that crazy expectations. You now have to live up to it. So most people forget and celebrate the fundraising announcement or the social media post that goes out when they raise big, large rounds. No one realizes the stress that comes when things don't work out after a fundraising round. So this is one of the things where sometimes when a company goes public, they're way more focused on what their stock price is the next day rather than the strategic bets that they have to make over the next 5 years. to build an enduring business. So I see venture capital as the same way. It's very important to get off the ground, but if you constantly need to depend on it, it's like a steroid. It's not good for you. And those short-term gains will actually be detrimental. So I am seeing a lot of companies where they're getting crazy valuations. The founders are getting rich off those fundraisers without have actually built a successful business. And I don't think that's durable. And if and when the bubble pops, those sort of companies, which could have been structurally great companies, now become walking zombies. And just as excited as an investor could be in you, they can pull the plug very, very quickly. And I think my co-founder and I realized you don't want to be in that hamster wheel race all the time. Now, if we needed an injection of capital in the future to hyperscale the platform, we'd definitely consider it in a responsible way. But we can also build the business in a way where we're still growing rapidly without needing outside capital. And it keeps us very aligned towards the long term of the company.
But we are also seeing profitable cash-rich startups raising funds. Is there some pressure on getting these marquee investors on your cap table? I mean, what's the logic there?
I'm sure that there's a handful of profitable companies who, after raising, become unprofitable. I think everything is in the quest of growth. So if they are in a very saturated market where there can only be like one winner, let's say the legal market, I can understand the reasoning why they want to raise. Not saying they're profitable, but in the long run, I don't think having some logo or sticker is going to make you relevant. If you look back in the day, Google didn't raise a whole lot of money in order to become a giant. Amazon didn't raise a whole lot of money. Microsoft didn't raise a whole lot of money. I've seen more companies, at least in the US markets, in the AI markets, where they're growing really well. They have great growth numbers, but they have to raise money every 6 to 12 months. And they're betting on the fact that eventually the model costs will go down. And by then they'll have market dominance or they can raise prices. So any number of factors can come into the picture. But I see it more as if there's a land grab and if capital can be a competitive advantage for you, absolutely. But for the markets that I'm in, I don't see that as being as big a factor.
You also mentioned about the AI bubble. But if and when this happens, when the bubble pops and the frontier AI labs and all the compute companies feel the heat of it, what impact do you foresee on the application layer?
Right now, the build out has been rapid. The investment in NVIDIA chips, the party goes on as long as NVIDIA is doing really well. And then all the model providers are doing well. I think the model providers are really pushing the envelope too. They're not sitting still. They're making their platforms better, more accessible. The cost of GPT-4 since then, like the cost has been cut by 1,000%. So the cost of AI and LLMs has dropped by 1,000x since GPT-4, the launch. And we hope that these model providers continue to do well. But I think many would agree that even if AI innovation just paused for 2 years, there's still incredible amounts of companies that can be built with the existing technology that already exists. And where I think the bubble is or where the risk could be is when these larger companies, these enterprise companies, go out and promise AI to investors, to their customers, oversell it before there's actual real adoption. And then they have to justify their stock price. So that's where I think the real risk is. But the actual infrastructure companies, the model providers, they're doing all this because the demand for what their thing is very real. So as long as there's demand, I think we're going to be okay.
So you're saying that the application layer is still better insulated to the risks?
So I don't think about the technology risk. I look at it more in terms of customer adoption risk. And if you promise all of this stuff to a customer and then you fail to deliver with AI, then the real problem will be if customers say, no, I don't really buy into this. And then the demand cuts there. That's the risk for the application layer. So more so than the infrastructure layer.
That was Krish Ramineni, co-founder of Fireflies, on how AI as a productivity tool is changing the future of work itself. His story is a rare look at what disciplined, long horizon company building could look like in a world that often celebrates valuations more than value. At a time when startups are burning millions, Fireflies has scaled across 100 plus countries while also being profitable. The real question now is, when AI stops taking notes and starts taking responsibility, how much will our workplaces change? Stay tuned as we bring you more conversations from ET in the Valley. I am Himanshi Lohchab and you've been listening to The Morning Brief. This episode was produced by Vinay Joshi, sound designed by Indranil Bhattacharjee. A new episode of this series drops every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast. Our other shows are The Morning Brief on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Corner Office Conversation every alternate Monday. Keep listening.